The night sky over Veralia was on fire. Explosions lit the horizon as rebel forces stormed the palace city. Ships crashed, towers fell, and fire spread like anger through the capital. The ground shook with every blast. Screams echoed in the distance. The royal guards were dead or running. Queen Eris Valthera ran through the stone corridors, her long dark robes torn and her silver crown gone. Her sharp eyes, once calm, were now filled with fear. Her people had betrayed her. Her own generals turned against her in a sudden rebellion. They wanted power. They didn't care about peace. They didn't care about her. She reached the lower hall and stopped to catch her breath. Her heart pounded in her chest like a drum. Then she heard footsteps, fast, heavy. Coming closer, Eris turned quickly and raised her hand, ready to fight her. Alien blood made her strong, but she was tired, and her powers were weak now. A shadow jumped out from the smoke. She swung her hand, but the figure dodged and grabbed her wrist gently. "Whoa. Easy. I'm not here to hurt you," the man said. Eris blinked. He was human, dirty, sweaty, and wearing torn black armor. His face was cut, blood on his cheek, but his eyes were kind. "Who are you?" she asked coldly. "Name's Elias, Captain Elias Cross. Human Special Ops," he said. "I was on a joint patrol when all hell broke loose. I've been fighting my way here." She narrowed her eyes. "Why?" "Because you're still alive, and I don't leave people behind. Even alien queens." Reese stared at him. No one had ever spoken to her like that before, not as a queen, but just as a person, before she could reply. Another explosion shook the floor. "Not safe here. Come on." Elias pulled her down a side hall. She didn't like being dragged, but something about his grip was different. Not forceful, just firm and protective. They ran together through broken tunnels, burning gardens, and fallen statues. At one point, enemy drones flew overhead. "Stay low," Elias whispered. Pulling her under a crashed ship, he aimed his human rifle and shot them down, one by one. Fast, sharp, calm. "You're good at this," Eris said softly. "I've had practice," he said with a tired smile. By nightfall, they reached a forest far from the palace ruins. The air was cooler, quiet. Elias built a small fire using tech from his belt. Eris sat on a stone nearby, wrapping her cloak around her shoulders. She looked at him across the fire. "You saved me," she said. Elias looked up. "Would have done it for anyone." "No, you wouldn't have. You didn't have to come back." "Why did you?" Elias didn't answer at first. Then he said, "You're the queen. If you die, the peace dies with you. And I guess I couldn't just walk away." Eris nodded slowly. "Most people only see me as a ruler, not a person." "Well," Elias said, "most people are idiots." She smiled for the first time in days. They shared rations that night. Simple food, not royal. But for Aris, it tasted better than anything from the palace. They talked. He told her about Earth, about oceans, music, and his younger sister who loved to paint the sky. He missed her. She told him about her home before she was queen. Used to run barefoot through the crystal fields. Now she had no friends any. More only guards and enemies. "I'm tired of being strong all the time." She whispered. Elias looked at her. "Then don't be. Not tonight." There was a silence between them. The fire crackled. The stars shone above them. No crown, no army, just two souls under the same sky. She looked into his eyes. "You're different, human." "Lot," Elias said. That night, they lay near the fire. Not close, not far. Words became fewer. Just glances. A hand brushing gently. No need to explain what they felt. It was unspoken, but strong. Two broken hearts. Two worlds apart. And for one night, no war, no duty. Just peace. By morning, Eris woke up alone. Elias was gone. No footprints. No sound. Only his jacket folded beside her, and a message scratched into a piece of metal. "Stay safe. Live your life, Elias." She held the message tightly in her hands. Her chest hurt, not from battle, not from wounds, from something else. Eris returned to the palace ruins hours later. Loyal forces had arrived. The rebellion was crushed. She was queen again, but something inside her had changed. She ruled wisely, bravely, but a part of her always looked to the stars, for the human who saved her, and vanished, and no one ever knew what really happened that night. Only her and him. Queen Eris Valthara sat alone on the high balcony of her palace. The night wind touched her face softly. The stars above were the same as they had been that night long ago, but she was not the same. Veralia was peaceful now. The war was over. The traitors were gone. Her people praised her strength and wisdom. But inside her heart, there was still one unanswered question. Where was Elias Cross? She had searched for him. Quietly, secretly. No one in her council knew. She had sent spies, asked traitors, scanned military records, but the human soldier had disappeared like a ghost. Some said he died. Others said he was just a dream, a passing hero. But Eris remembered everything. It's the way he fought to protect her. It's the way he made her laugh in the middle of war. The firelight in his eyes that last night. The way he walked away and never came back. She still kept his old jacket. She still read the metal plate he left behind, and she still believed he was alive. Your Highness, said General Xian, bowing low behind her. He was her most trusted officer, loyal, calm, sharp-minded, but he had never seen the real pain in her eyes. We received a report, he said. A human matching the description. Your description was seen on a mining colony in the Rylos system, outskirts of known space. No full ID, but Eris stood quickly. Prepare the royal cruiser, she said. I'm going there, Zarin blinked. Your Majesty. With all respect, is this wise? That place is dangerous. Pirates, smugglers, broken machines. I'm going, Eris said. Alone if I must. Zarin lowered his head. As you command. The ship was small, but fast. It left Veralia in silence, crossing the stars like a blade through water. Eris stood at the window, eyes fixed on the dark space ahead. She didn't know if he would be there, but if there was even a small chance, she had to find out. Rylos mining colony 5 days later. The place was nothing like her palace. Dirty, loud, and full of smoke. Metal buildings stacked like trash, oil-stained streets, machines broken and buzzing. Aliens and humans alike moved fast, eyes low, hands on weapons. Eris wore a long hooded cloak. She didn't look like a queen now, just another traveler. Her heart beat fast as she walked through the colony. Then she saw him, across the street, carrying a heavy box on his shoulder, beard thicker, hair longer, face tired, but she knew those eyes. She could never forget them. It was Elias Cross. Her breath caught. Elias. She whispered. He didn't hear. He turned down an alley and vanished again, just like before. Eris followed him quietly. Down steps, past old vents, into the lower tunnels of the colony. He stopped in front of a small door and opened it. She waited until he went inside, then moved forward. Inside, the room was small. A bed, a table, tools, a map on the wall, a single picture of a blue planet Earth. Elias was washing his hands. He turned slowly. He saw her. His eyes widened. For a moment he looked like he saw a ghost. Then he whispered, Eris. She removed her hood. You're alive, she said. He nodded. I didn't think you'd come. She stepped forward. I waited 5 years. Elias sighed and sat on a metal chair. You weren't supposed to. There was silence between them, heavy, like old snow. Aris sat across from him. Why did you leave? She asked softly. I thought it was better, he said. She would. A kingdom to rebuild. A life. You didn't need a broken soldier from Earth.
You don't get to decide what I need.
Aris replied. Elias smiled a little, sad and tired. I never forgot that night, not a single day. Then why hide? I'm not just hiding, he said. I'm working with a human resistance group. Her eyes narrowed. Resistance? There's a plan to start another war, Elias said. Humans who hate aliens think peace is weakness. They want to hit Varelia next. Eris stood.
Wait.
Didn't you tell anyone? Because I needed to stay quiet, he said. If they know I'm with you, they'll kill me. Or worse, use me to hurt you. She stepped closer. Her voice was soft but sharp. I'm not afraid. I am, he whispered. Suddenly a loud bang came from outside, shouting, running. Elias looked out the window. Damn it, they found. Me, who? Eris asked. Rebels? Someone must have seen me talking to an alien. He grabbed a pack and handed her a small weapon. Time to run, Your Majesty. I told you not to call me that, she said. He smirked. Old habit, they ran through the tunnels, shots fired behind them. Red sparks flew from the walls. Elias guided her through hidden paths and vents. He knew the place well. They reached a closed gate. Locked Elias, pulled a wire from the panel. Cover me. Eris stood in front of him, weapon ready.
House.
Her hands shook slightly. She hadn't fought like this in years. The rebels came closer. She fired once. Twice they fell back. Surprised, Elias opened the gate. Go. They escaped into the wild rocks beyond the colony. Wind howled through the dust. Hours later, they found an abandoned outpost in the hills. Safe for now. Inside, Eris leaned against the wall, breathing hard. You saved me again, she said. Elias shook his head. No, you saved me this time. They sat together in silence. The same quiet space they once shared 5 years ago. Finally, Eris looked at him. Promise me something, she said. What? If you disappear again, tell me why. Don't vanish without a word. Elias nodded. I promise. She looked at him. Will you vanish again? He didn't answer right away. Then he said, I don't want to, but this fight isn't over. She placed her hand over his. Then let me fight with you. Elias and Eris sat beside the quiet walls of the old outpost. Outside, wind blew dust over empty rocks. Inside, the silence between them felt heavy, but not cold. Eris stared at the small campfire Elias had made. Her purple eyes reflected the flames. You said they're planning to attack Varelia again. Elias nodded slowly. It's bigger than you think. A human group called the Iron Hand. They believe humans should rule the galaxy. No aliens, no peace. And you're inside this group, she asked. I was, he said, but not officially. I've been watching them for over 3 years, sending secret messages to a few people who still believe in peace. So they plan to destroy my world again. And you've been fighting this alone? I didn't want to bring you into it, Elias said. Not after what happened, I thought. I thought it would be better if you forgot me. Her eyes flashed. You think I could forget you? Elias looked away. I waited 5 years, she said, standing. Every day I looked at the stars, wondering if you were alive, if you thought of me even once. I did, Elias said quietly. But I didn't want to pull you into my mess. You're a queen. I'm just a broken soldier with too many ghosts. Stepped closer. I don't care if you're broken. You were honest with me. You cared when no one else did. You saved me. It wasn't weakness. He finally looked up at her, and for a moment they both remembered the firelight from years ago, the closeness. The night when they were not soldier and queen, but just two people, lost and found. Elias spoke first. There's a meeting soon, on a space station called Darkreach. That's where they're finalizing the attack plan. Then we go there, Ari said. It's dangerous. I don't care. He smiled. Still stubborn, she smirked. Still human. The next day they left the outpost using Ilias's hidden shuttle. It was small, old, and beat up but fast. Aris had never flown in anything so noisy. Do you trust this thing? She asked, tightening her belt. Not at all, Elias said. But she's never let me down yet. The stars flashed around them as the ship jumped to Wipers. The way they talked. About the past. About her rebuilding Varelia. About his missions. Their voices were softer now, more comfortable. But something deeper was growing between them again, not just memory. Something real. When the ship landed on Darkreach, everything changed. Darkreach Station, edge of human space, it was a cold metal fortress floating in the dark. No sunlight, no beauty, just gray walls, flickering lights, and too many guns. Inside, humans in black armor walked the halls. Angry voices, hard eyes. This was not a place for peace. Elias wore his old gear again and gave Eris a simple disguised helmet, jacket, and a fake ID. "No one will look twice," he said. "I feel strange," she whispered. "That's normal," Elias said. "This place is full of ghosts." They walked through the station, avoiding cameras. Elias knew every corner, every hallway. He had been here before. Soon they reached a locked door. Inside was the meeting room of the Iron Hand. Elias placed a tiny recorder on the wall. "Once they talk, this device will record everything," he said. "We'll send it to the Peace Council, expose their plans." "And then what?" Reese asked. "Then we run." But things never go as planned. The door opened suddenly. Guards stormed out. One of them saw Reese's face clearly when her helmet slipped. "Wait, who are you?" Ilias grabbed her hand. "Run." They dashed through the hallway as alarms rang. Out. Red lights flashed. Voices shouted. Elias turned and fired warning shots. Forcing the guards to take cover, they reached the shuttle, but more guards blocked the way. "We're trapped," Eris said. "No," Elias replied. "There's another way." He took her to the cargo lift, deep under the station, but someone was already there. A tall man in a black coat, cold blue eyes. A scar across his mouth. "Captain Cross," the man said. "You've been busy." Elias stepped forward. "Brennholt. Still hiding behind others to do your dirty work?" "Not hiding," Holt said. "Just waiting. And now, I have both of you." Guards came from behind. Riss reached for her weapon, but Holt held a remote. Ah, my queen," he said. "One wrong move, and this whole floor explodes." Elias raised his hands. "What do you want?" Holt smiled. "You, of course. And her. You've been a thorn in our side long enough." He looked at Eris. "You should have stayed on your throne. Now your death will start the next war." They were taken to a holding cell. Cold, small, dark. Elia sat with his back against the wall, breathing hard. "I'm sorry," he said. "This isn't your fault," Eris replied. "I dragged you into this. I came by choice." He looked at her. "I thought I was protecting you, but I only made things worse." Eris moved closer. She touched his hand. "You're still trying to carry everything alone, but you don't have to." For the first time, Elias didn't pull away. He leaned his head back, eyes closed. "If we die here," he said, "I want you to know. That night we shared. It saved me more than you'll ever understand." Tears filled her eyes.
Ice.
"It broke me when you left, I know," he whispered. "I know." But Eris was not a queen who gave up. She stood and looked around the cell. The guards outside were talking. Distracted, she had learned something over the years: how to listen. How to wait. She pressed her hand against the metal wall, feeling the weak point. There, she whispered. Elias looked at her. "What are you thinking?" "I think you forget that I'm not just a queen. I'm a fighter." He smiled again. "You're more than that." Using a small hidden crystal from her belt, Eris created a sharp burst of energy. Just enough to short the lock. The door clicked open. "Time to run again," she said. Together, they moved fast and silent through the back halls. Alarms were down. Power flickering. The ship bay was near, but Holt was already waiting, holding a gun. "You really are stubborn," he said. Eris stepped forward. "Let him go. Take me instead," Elias shouted. "No." But Holt laughed. "Oh, you two really care for each other. How sweet, but pointless." Suddenly Cern appeared behind Holt. The Varelian general had followed the queen from the start, hiding his presence. One shot. Quick and silent. Holt fell to the floor. "Sorry I'm late, Your Majesty," Zirin said. Eris smiled. Perfect timing. They ran to the shuttle. As the ship flew away from Darkreach, The station behind them started to fall apart. Systems crashing, doors locked, and rebels in chaos. The recording from the meeting was already sent. Peace leaders across the galaxy would now see the truth. War had been stopped. Again. Elias sat beside Eris in the pilot seat. Jorn stayed in the back, giving them space. Elias looked at her. "You didn't have to come for me," he said. "I did," Eris replied. He reached for her hand. "You always deserved more than a night." She looked at him. "Then don't vanish this time." The stars were calm. From the window of the ship, Eris watched the lights of the galaxy pass by. It was peaceful now, but she knew the peace was not real. Not yet. Behind her, Elias sat quietly, working on the recorded files they took from the rebel meeting. Zurin checked weapons in the corner. Their small ship hummed softly as it moved through space. Eris turned. "How bad is it?" Elias looked tired. "Worse than I thought. The Iron Hand wasn't working alone. They have help." "From where?" "From inside the Human Council," he said. "High-level officers, government people, even some diplomats." Eris walked over and stared at the screen. "They want war that badly?" Elias nodded. "They think humans are being soft. That peace with aliens makes us weak. They want to take everything by force." She clenched her jaw. "If that recording proves their plans, then they'll lose power, right? Only if the galaxy believes it." Eris looked at Zarin. "We need a secure place to send this to the Galactic Peace Council." Zarin spoke. "We can't trust open space." "But I know. One place that's quiet, hidden, and has the tools we need." "Where?" Elias asked. Sun answered. "An old Varelian base on the moon of Kesser, abandoned after the war. But I've kept it running, just in case." Eris nodded. "Set course." Moon of Kesser. 18 hours later, the moon was cold and gray. Its surface looked empty, but deep under the ground, the old base still worked. Doors opened as the ship landed. They entered a large room filled with dusty screens, old lights, and humming machines. Zarin wiped off a control panel and began powering up the systems. "This will work," he said. Eris and Elias uploaded the data. The files were large videos, voices, secret plans. "It'll take a few hours to send it out to the entire piece." "Network," Elias said. "But once it's out, it can't be stopped." He looked at Eris. "After this, they'll come for us." She nodded. "Let them. We're not running anymore." As the data uploaded, they took a moment to rest. Zurin stayed on guard. Eris and Elias sat together in the old command room. The lights flickered above them. "Do you remember?" Elias asked. "That first night? The fire? The stars?" Eris smiled. I remember everything." He looked down. "Then I thought I was just a piece in someone else's game. Soldier. Nothing more." "You were never just a soldier," Aris said. "You were the first person who saw me. Not as a queen, just as me." Elias looked at her. "I thought I lost you forever," she said. "You never did," he whispered. She moved. Closer. "And now, I don't want to leave again." Their hands touched, soft, familiar. But just as their eyes locked, the alarms began to scream. Zurin ran in. "We've got incoming ships. No ID signals." Eris stood. "They followed us." Elias moved to the control panel. "The upload is still going. 10 more minutes." "We don't have 10 minutes," Zurin said. "Then we hold them off," Aris replied. Outside, 3 black ships landed on the moon's surface. Rebel soldiers poured out human and alien mercenaries mixed together. Their leader, a cold-eyed woman in red armor. Her name was General Cray, one of the highest Iron Hand officers. "Find the Queen and the traitor," she ordered. "Bring them alive if possible. Aid if needed." Inside the base, Elias loaded his rifle. Zarin handed Eris a plasma blade. "I never thought I'd fight beside you like this," she said. Zarin smiled. "I always believed it would happen." The enemy stormed the entrance. Blasts echoed in the halls. Elias took cover behind a crate and fired. Eris slashed through 2 soldiers with sharp, glowing strikes. Zarin dropped 3 with perfect aim. They moved like one team. Smooth, fast, no hesitation, but there were too many. "Fall back," Elias shouted. They ran to the main chamber. The upload was at 92%. Elias shouted, "Just a little more," and the power cut off. Darkness, the screen shut down. Cray's voice came from the speakers. "Did you really think we wouldn't track? Your message? This base is old, easy to break." Iris gritted her teeth. "They killed the signal." "No," Elias said. "They cut it, but not killed." He pointed at a backup generator panel. "If I can reach that room, I can restart the signal manually." "It's too dangerous," Iris said. He looked at her. "I can do it. Trust me." She grabbed his arm. "Don't you dare vanish again." "I'm not vanishing," he said. "I'm coming back." Elias ran through the side tunnel. He dodged enemy fire, rolled under beams, and reached the generator room. Sparks flew, smoke everywhere. He rewired the power lines with shaky hands. Finally, click, the lights came back. The upload resumed. Back in the main chamber, Reese and Zirin fought hard. Enemies broke through the doors. Cray entered, aiming at Reese. "I warned them about peace," Cray said. "I said humans must never kneel." "You don't understand peace," Eris replied. "It's not kneeling. It's standing together." She raised her blade. They fought fast. Sharp was strong, but Eris was stronger. With a final move, she disarmed Cray and knocked her down. "You lost," Eris said. Just then, Elias returned, injured, bleeding, but smiling. "It's done," he said. "The message is out. All across the galaxy." Zirin helped seal the doors. The rebels tried to run, but it was over. Peace leaders responded. Ships came from nearby systems. The traitors were arrested. War was stopped. Again, a week later, Virilian, the Great Hall of the Palace, leaders from different planets stood together. Humans, Virelians, and others. The truth had been shared. The Iron Hand was defeated. Those who supported peace stood stronger than ever. Queen Eris gave a short speech. "We came close to losing everything again, but we did not, because of truth. Because of courage, and because of one human who didn't give up." The people clapped. Elias stood in the crowd, wearing clean clothes for once. He didn't like the attention, but he smiled when she looked at him. Later in the garden, Eris walked beside him. "You should rest," she said. "I don't know how," Elias replied. She laughed softly. "I'll teach you." They sat under the same stars they had once looked at together so long ago. This time they were not afraid. Elias looked at her. "You saved me again," Reese replied. "We saved each other." 1 month had passed since the battle on the moon of Kesser. Virelia was calm again. The sky over the capital city was clear, and sunlight fell gently on the shining towers. The people had returned to their lives, and peace had a strong voice. Now louder than fear, louder than war. Queen Eris Valthera sat on the palace balcony, dressed not in royal armor, but in a soft silver robe. She looked out at her kingdom and smiled, but her heart still waited for someone. She turned when she heard soft footsteps. Elias Cross stood in the doorway, clean-shaven, wearing a simple dark uniform. No armor, no weapons, just himself. "You're late," Eris said with a smirk. Elias grinned. "I got lost. Big palace." She laughed and walked toward him. "It hasn't changed in 5 years." He looked into her eyes. "You have good or bad?" "Better," he said. "Stronger. More. You." She reached out and took his hand. "I almost lost you again." "But you didn't," Elias replied. "You came for me. Twice." They stood in silence, the kind that didn't feel heavy anymore. Then Eris spoke, her voice soft. "What now?" Elia shrugged. "You're a queen. I'm whatever I am. We're from different worlds. I don't care about titles," she said. "I care about the person who stood with me when everyone else ran. The one who saw me when I couldn't see myself." He touched her cheek gently. "I care about the queen who burned brighter than stars and still carried kindness in her heart." Aris smiled but then turned serious. "Elias, I want you to stay. Not as a soldier, not as a bodyguard. Just as you." His breath caught. "You sure about that?" "Yes." He looked down. "I never believed I belonged anywhere. Not Earth, not the war. But maybe, just maybe, I belong with you. She stepped closer. You do? That night, a quiet celebration was held in the royal gardens. Just a small group: Iris, Elias, Zien, and a few close friends. No politics, no speeches, just laughter, food, and peace. Zarin raised a glass. To peace and to strange love stories. Everyone laughed. Elias sat beside Iris on a bench under a glowing tree. The lights from the leaves shimmered in her hair. Used to think your world was so different, he said. It is, Iris replied. But you never treated me like I was different. That's why I trusted you. He leaned closer. I never stopped thinking about that night. Neither did I, she whispered. They didn't kiss, not yet. But the space between them was small, now filled with understanding. With history, with something real. Days passed. Elias began helping around the palace, not with politics, but with security. He trained young guards, fixed broken tech, and slowly became part of the world he once thought he didn't belong in, the people of Varelia. Whispered stories about the human who had saved their queen twice. Some called him a hero. Others called him strange. But Eris called him something simple, mine. Still, not everyone was happy. One day, a royal advisor pulled Eris aside. Your Majesty, the advisor said, bowing, there is concern among the nobles about the human. What concern? He's not of Varelia. He holds no title. Some fear he weakens the throne's image. Rhys raised her head. The throne is strong because it stands for truth. And truth is, Elias Cross is, more royal than any of them. The advisor bowed again, silently. Later, Eris found Elias in the training yard. You heard, didn't you? She asked. He nodded. I don't belong here. I know. She frowned. Stop saying that. It's true, he said. I'm just a human soldier. You're a queen. She grabbed his hand firmly. You're the man who saved my life. The one I waited for 5 years. The one I chose. He looked at her. Why me? She smiled. Because only a human could look past the crown and see the real me. And only you made me feel alive. He touched her cheek. Then let me stay. The next day, the people of Varelia gathered in the city square. A platform was set. Soldiers stood in formation. Civilians watched from rooftops and balconies. Queen stood tall. Beside her was Elias. She raised her voice. People of Varelia.
Right.
For years I led you through war and peace. I wore this crown with pride. But today, I speak not just as your queen, but as Aris, daughter of Varelia and woman of this world. She turned to Elias. This man, a human from another world, saved me when I had nothing, stood beside me when others ran, loved me without needing a throne or crown. The crowd went. Silent, I choose him not as my guard, not as a soldier, but as my partner. From this day he stands not behind me, but beside me. Elias looked shocked. The people were quiet for a moment. Then someone clapped. Then more. Then all. Cheers rose. Loud and joyful. For the first time, Elias Cross felt like he truly belonged. That night, under a quiet sky, Iris and Elias stood alone in the palace garden once more. No war, no fear, no titles, just them. She reached for his hand. Do you still think you're just a soldier? He shook his head. No, now. I'm yours. And this time, he didn't vanish. He stayed.